Let's talk about break and continue. We're going to be looking at break and continue the file here, .php, and we'll look again at for loops and if statements and things like that, as well as the infinite loops file. Now what break and continue do, they allow us to actually break out of a loop, or a statement, or an area, or continue by stepping over a particular statement during a condition or after a condition is actually met. So if we look at this break and continue file, you see that inside the code here we have a for loop, and we have a statement here that says if I is greater than 1, then just continue. That is just going to drop to the outside of this for loop here. So that's going to come down here and basically just come back to the top. So it's just going to continue. So you don't even have to think in terms of a for loop that it has to actually carry execution all the way down to the end after the brace, meaning that none of this gets executed. You don't even have to think of it in terms of that. Think of it in terms of the minute it sees a continue statement, all of that's ignored in between the curly braces. Ignored, it just comes back right up to the top here, and then it increments I, and then it tests the condition. So that's what the continue does. Continue says, okay, ignore all the statements that we could execute. Just ignore them and go back to the for loop. Well, if you look at the output, you see that I output I is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, and then we have these boxes in a row. So obviously when I is equal to 0 or I is equal to 1, something else gets executed. But when I is greater than 1, it no longer gets executed, as you can see here, 0 and 1. This is something different here, the lower part. And we don't even necessarily need this extra code here, but I'm just showing you here very simply that this is what's going to get executed, as well as all the table information here. But it only will do that if I is less than 2, meaning that I is not greater than 1. So we could change that to 4, for example, save it, and then we can right-click, refresh, and then we see that it increments even more here to 4. So as long as I is less than 4, it's going to create a box here. And we can see that this is redundant. So we can actually comment that out. And when we refresh, you can see that it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that would be the end of that. The rest is starting a new loop there. That is continue.